It is the Homemade Broadcast. It is episode 560. 560 episodes of the Homemade Broadcast. And this lady right here has been part of many of them. This is Anna Hummel.
Hello. That's
Yeah.
almost how much you paid for dinner the other night.
Yeah. You can tune in next week to find out about that. Just
Yeah.
full disclosure, even though I don't really need to, we did pre-record an episode earlier for next week because we're both going to be out of town. So you can learn about the very expensive dinner that I had to pay for next week. It's a good tease. We are available at willsyoutube.com, live on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Rumble, same thing. HMB Radio, Hotel Mike Bravo Radio, all one word. You can find it. And Facebook, HMB Radio, Tampa Bay, over there. Substack. We have a Substack. Please subscribe. It's free. There's a free version. If you want, you can donate if you'd like to, but you don't have to. There's a free version. hmbradio.substack.com. Subscribing there is great and beneficial. You get the free portion, the 30 minutes early. If you subscribe, you'll get the audio only edition early. So go do that. And how's it going? I mean, I know I just talked to you, but I guess how's it going, Anna?
It is going well. I'm a little frazzled and stressed as I'm trying to get everything together for my Portland trip, leaving for Portland, Oregon tomorrow. Portlandia. I've never been to the Pacific Northwest, Will. I'm from California. I'm from the West Coast, but I don't think I've been north of Sacramento.
Is it in the city, like in Portland proper?
No.
Portland?
I don't think, because I have the address and it doesn't say Portland on it.
Okay.
So I think it's a suburb.
Should be fun.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I am stoked. I'm very happy. I hear the coffee is great. Them coffee slaps. Everybody knows this.
That's true.
So I'm excited. And more than seeing Portland, I'm excited to see my family. I feel like I am very bad at seeing family and keeping in touch with people. So I haven't seen my cousin, whose birthday I'll be celebrating this weekend. He's turning 40. I haven't seen him for almost 8 years, and he's my closest cousin.
Oh boy. Do you speak on the phone, or is it going to be weird and kind of awkward to see him?
No, I speak to him periodically on the phone, but we used to be, much closer, especially when we were of college age. I feel like we were, he went to Sonoma State, which is, or let's just say the Bay-ish area, not really, but middle of the state. And I was in SoCal. And so we kind of, bounce around, and we'd like to party, me probably more than him. But now I feel like it's reversed. Even though he has children, I probably party less than he does. So
good.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you don't get stabbed. I wish you the best there in Portland. It's not a nice place. I mean, it is a beautiful place, but there's a lot of riffraff. Let's just say.
Yeah. Well, I probably won't be out and about too much. The weather doesn't look like it's going to be in my favor. So I was loaned/gifted a rain jacket by the one and only Nanette Weiser.
Oh, nice.
So I'll be looking adorable in my new polka dot raincoat.
Love that.
I'll take pictures.
Yeah. Have you been wormed yet? Wormed this season yet? Spring is sprung. Do you know what wormed is?
Oh, with those worms that like hang down on the trees?
The little green worms.
I haven't been wormed yet. I haven't been wormed. I remember them from last year, though. They're disgusting.
Yeah. They're very squishy little green buggers. They look very wet inside. Like the birds love to eat them. I've been wormed. I will admit it. I did get wormed yesterday for the first time. I feel like I can handle it, but I know that ladies, it's not their bag. They don't really like to be wormed, at least not in that way.
Oh, no, certainly not in that way. Now, are these actual worms, or are they like caterpillars that turn into like butterflies or something?
Yeah, I think they turn into some sort of moth. It's not even a cool bug. It's just like a brown moth type of thing. Yeah, pretty sure. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but that means that spring has sprung, and my sinuses are really feeling it. I had to get a bottle of distilled water today because you ever see the nose douches that they have, the Neil Med,
the Navage or something?
Yeah, that's one too. I have just a squirt bottle, and it looks like it's got a little squirter on the top, and you just put it in your nose and you squeeze the bottle, and it's literally a douche for your nose. Because I'm just blowing blood out of my nose nonstop. It's very, very unfortunate.
Now, have you ever gotten like allergy shots
No.
or something? You're not that bad because I don't have allergies at all. So when people are like, "Oh, my allergies are acting up," I feel nothing.
Yeah. No, this is good for you. That's awesome. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I do have I need to get like I don't have health insurance yet, but I want to get a I guess a test where they kind of poke you with different things, see what you're allergic to. I have a feeling I'm allergic to everything.
Probably.
We were
You got that look.
look like you're allergic to everything. Yeah, I don't have good genes. So we had this down comforter that my partner Julia insisted that she was going to be using. Well, didn't insist, but she was using. I don't like it because it's too hot. It gets way too hot in there with the down comforter. And then I would wake up every morning just completely clogged in every hole. I mean, I was clogged in the front, back,
every hole.
Well, in my face, I guess. Ears, nose, eye. I was just like crying red tears. Just like, oh God, I feel terrible. And I couldn't figure out why. And then finally it dawned on me that it may in fact be this down comforter. And we got rid of it and it's much better now. We got just a normal, like no natural material. It's just like some sort of weird plastic.
Ooh, but it's very
well, no, yeah, it's very synthetic. Yeah, it's like I think it might be bamboo actually, and then some sort of like weird plastic, thing. Other than that, but it's great. It's so much better. But yeah, I have a feeling I'm allergic to dust, and the pollen is obviously killing me. But not in like it's manageable. I'm just bleeding out of my nose, and my head hurts, and my nose hurts. Fine. I feel like I'm just sick.
Yeah, can't relate. Can't relate.
That is nice. I do see some people here. Thomas, natural aspired. Let's see. He's like, do you use a lot of nasal spray because that will dry out your nose and make it bleed? No, I don't. Well, actually, I do have a prescription spray that I use, and yes, I know the side effect with it is it will make you bleed, but it doesn't do it all the time. Seems to be only doing it with this new pollen bloom that's been going on with over the past few weeks. Last year was really bad. This year's not as bad. But there is a lot of pollen that's accumulating. Your cars are all, at least mine's all yellow, just completely covered with crap. And you don't want to get a car wash. Or just wait till May.
Yeah. Or the rain. Yeah, I get it.
I just give it a hoe bath. My car, I just give it a squirt with the hose.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So no washing or anything. But yeah, the allergies are killing me. I had to go get I feel a lot better. I did give it a little squirt, with the.
Do you take Claritin D?
No, I don't do anything like that. I do the prescription nose spray.
That's it.
Works. Because I've always had, and I think it's because I'm allergic to everything. You just get like, and you don't know this pain. You don't experience this, but just one nostril clogged all the time.
I'm sick, but not for allergies.
Mine's all the time.
But it does give you a lot of pressure. I did actually take Claritin D when I had COVID last because I was feeling just so much because your sinuses are all clogged up. So that's awful if you deal with that like every day or every season. That super sucks.
Well, for years, pretty much every day, I would just have one nostril was just clogged.
Yeah, that sucks. But that pressure is really uncomfortable. Like you can't even, at least for me, and I don't know if this was just like a COVID thing, but if I would lay down, like I would get like a weird drip.
Yeah.
Because you're clogged up and it's like your sinuses are like leaking out into your throat. And then I'd have to like sleep kind of inclined. I don't know. It was terrible. So
the weird thing about it too was that it's not even like you would blow your nose and nothing would come out. So it's not even,
you can't even release it.
It's just inflamed. It's just like inflammation.
That sucks.
So I do have an anti-inflammatory spray, which works really good, but now I'm addicted to this spray, but at least both of my nostrils open.
Do you do it like this?
Yep. See,
That's
you
pretty
kind of sound
badass.
plugged up. You kind of sound inflamed in there.
Me?
Yeah. It wasn't clear when you did that. It was resistance.
I was going in.
There's a lot of resistance there. Mind it.
But all you're doing is shooting up every day.
Well, I'm saying you might actually be suffering from this and not know it. If it's making a sound like that, there's some sort of resistance that's going on in your nasal cavity. But you feel completely free and open.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now you don't sound so sure.
I don't know what I feel. Now I'm this is not good. What you've done. Now you planted a little seed in my head and I go, do I have another issue? I can't have any more issues.
There might be
I have enough mental disorders. I don't need another physical disorder. Thanks very much.
Sorry about that, but it might be. That's unfortunate. This is the Homemade Broadcast. My name is Will Kuncz. This is Anna Hummel. Got a good show this week. We're doing first half an hour goes on Radio St. Pete and to the podcast feed on Spotify and iTunes. And then we do an extra half an hour where we get nasty, dirty. We curse. Actually, not really, but more just fun stuff that we can kind of talk about that the internet gives us the freedom to do. And that I don't want Joe yelling at me for saying potty word mouth stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So we do the extra time over there, and that's obviously available on the Substack. Good way to support the show. Venmo, good way to support the show. I split that with Anna. And super chats are always awesome. So thank you for those if you are so inclined. If not, enjoy. Thank you for being here. First, Anna, I saw this. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills sometimes. And I know that you feel it too. We talk about it pretty often. And it's just going to be things that bother me, I guess, and probably you too.
Long list.
And I want to know if they bother you too. But I saw this and I was like, wait, what? And I had to look at the website and what the title of it was. Florida chemtrails bill clears Senate committee. Are there chemtrails? I thought chemtrails were exhaust from the plane. It was water vapor, right? That's what I've always been told. And now it's getting to the point where they're making a bill in the Florida House about quote unquote chemtrails. Maybe that's why they put it in quotes here.
That's what I'm about to say is that they're putting it in quotes. So it's probably not the chemtrails we think of when we say chemtrail. Because when there is that exhaust coming out of the plane, people just call it chemtrails, but it's not. Like you just said, it's just like water vapor.
Yeah, that's always one that I've always kind of was never into. Conspiracy theories, I'm always interested. Yeah, what do you got? Let's hear what you got. Some of them make more sense. The coronavirus conspiracy that it came from a lab in Wuhan. I was all in on that one. I ended up being right. And we'll talk about that one in a second. But the chemtrails thing I never really bought. But I'm reading this story. It says a Florida bill cracking down on geoengineering and weather modification activities passed a Senate committee favorably on Tuesday. This is joint. This is not just a kooky Republican thing. This is a joint effort by Republicans and Democrats here. In the Appropriations Committee on Agriculture, Environment, and General Government hearing, bill sponsors Senator Garcia said that the bill in part reflects constituent concerns with chemtrails, pointing, WFLA is already saying this is, a conspiracy theory, a debunked conspiracy theory, stating that the government or other entities are spreading toxic chemicals through the contrails of water vapor left behind by airplanes. He said that many of us senators receive complaints on a regular basis regarding these condensation trails, aka chemtrails. There's a lot of skepticism. Garcia said that her bill would allow residents to contact the Florida Department of Environmental Protection to report suspected geoengineering activities, adding that it would take additional staffing and resources to investigate and respond to those claims. Anyone caught violating the law could be charged with a second-degree misdemeanor and face a fine of up to $100,000. SB 56 would ban attempts to conduct state-permitted weather modification activities like cloud seeding. Augustus Dorico, representing cloud seeding company Rainmaker, which does not yet operate in Florida, explained that his work use the technology to end water scarcity is misunderstood and that the bill would stifle innovation. He says, I'm testifying not to impose the spirit of this bill, which I think is well founded, but the current configuration of this bill, which I think would impede our mission to end water scarcity and also for bringing the best in class technology to Florida and the rest of the United States. Although there have not been any requests for permits to conduct weather modification activities in Florida in the last decade, Garcia defended the necessity of the bill. He said there is some type of activity going on, again, pointing to the concerns she's heard from constituents. After a short debate period, the bill was reported favorably out of the committee. Okay, so it's just out of committee now, which I think means it's going, but it's a bipartisan thing. I don't know, like, and then you're always called a kook for believing in weather, but there's a company called Rainmaker that's doing cloud seeding, which is putting chemicals in clouds, right? I mean, like, am I crazy here?
I don't know much about this, Will, to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't know much about the chemtrails or the aliens. Clandestine operations is more my jam. CIA offshoot sort of stuff, that's more my jam.
Right.
But the chemtrails, I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Would need to know more about it.
It's just interesting how a lot of these things are that I even thought this one was kind of kooky. Now is, being talked about in our government here, at least in the state of Florida. And it's bipartisan. So like I said, it's not just one kooky side or whatever. Like, people are talking about this. And then you got a company that's saying, yeah, we're doing cloud seeding, which to do that, you have to put some sort of chemical in the apps. I don't know. Now I'm like, this might be real. No.
Let me ask you this. If you could crack open one event or case, I'm going to give you 3 options. Which would they be? Okay. And you get to know all the secrets of this case. It's going to blast right open. Would it be A, the Kennedy assassination? Would it be B, 9/11? Or C, Epstein?
So of the 3, if I could know everything about these 3 very present conspiracy. Okay, so interestingly enough, the JFK files supposedly in their entirety were released last night. There's thousands and thousands of pages. I'm going to just wait for somebody that I trust to go through them and see what they find out. There was an interesting thing floating around yesterday from some, intelligence asset that after he was assassinated, Kennedy was assassinated, the guy left town, dipped out, and said that essentially that the CIA had this man killed, essentially. And I forget what the reason was. It was something, maybe the frame Cuba or something.
Yes. So I was going to say something else. I'm knee deep. How about that? In this book about the Bushes that I told you I'm reading.
Yeah.
And we're at the point in the story. I love reading history like fiction. Like, in my mind, I'm like, ooh, this crazy story. But it really happened. Where we're just getting to the actual Kennedy assassination. And yes, it does have a lot to do with the CIA, big industry, Cuba, and the failed Bay of Pigs invasion, 1961. Yeah, I think that's the year. So I think the CIA had plans and Kennedy shot them down. So then they shot Kennedy down because he started to clean house after the Bay of Pigs invasion went bad. And the CIA didn't like that very much.
Right. I mean, there was definitely incentive there for sure. It was perhaps even, I've heard Fidel Castro maybe did try to assassinate President Kennedy because he was obviously trying to invade his country. There was
and assassinate him too. Was the plan that got foiled. Yeah. So he was messing with big money. There was a lot of money in oil exploration that Castro cut down when he, nationalized the land and closed it down to any sort of foreign enterprise. And a lot of people had invested, I think, and you got to think this was like in the 60s, 30 to $50 million of oil exploration and also like sugar plantations. And a lot of these places, they weren't happy about the fact that they couldn't do business in Cuba anymore. And they really wanted Kennedy to go in there and shake things up and maybe do a little regime change to make sure that the shareholders of these companies could make their money. And he refused to do that. So he died. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so I think that one may be close to being, I don't know, probably not. Epstein files also were sort of released. Lots of redactions, supposedly protect the victims. That one, I think probably what we all think, that he was some sort of asset, probably Mossad, and he was just honey trapping these powerful people into doing things for blackmail material. I think that's what happened. I'm kind of lost interest with Epstein a little. Also, thank you, Mark and Sarasota.
Oh my God, Mark and SRQ, thank you so much.
Very nice to super chat there. No comment, but I just wanted to shout him out. Thank you so much for that, Mark.
Thank you. Wow. Appreciate the generosity, the gratuity.
So I think that leaves for me then 9/11. You want to know what went down with 9/11?
Yeah. I think for me it would probably be, I feel like, not that I've cracked the case on Kennedy, there's no like smoking gun, but there's so much circumstantial evidence, if I believe what I'm reading in this book, which I do, because this guy is like insane how much research he's done. And it's also been corroborated by other people. He's not just coming up with this theory on his own that the CIA killed Kennedy, but 9/11, not that it doesn't, it surely interests me, but it's also kind of connected to the Kennedy assassination because it involves the Bushes.
Right.
But I would probably say Epstein if I could crack open any one of those cases, because not so much, it's pretty much a fact that he was intelligence. Well, Acosta, during when he was first arrested, I think in 2010, and they said that they couldn't really do anything with him because he was related to intelligence. That's all that Acosta said, who was the attorney general, I think, for Florida at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But what my intrigue with Epstein is it's pretty certain he was working with Mossad, but he was an American, and he was working with American intelligence too. I think that is pretty sure that happened. And I think I'm interested in how.
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of these agents are like freelance agents, like Robert Maxwell. Some people think he was a triple agent working with the MI6, Mossad, and possibly the Russians, meaning that like you're getting all this intel and you'll just like sell it to the highest bidder. I'm not quite sure, but I want to know Epstein's connection to American intelligence and what the point of that was, and who wanted to blackmail whom in America. I understand when it's like a foreign country because they have their own interests. America has their own interests, but like, what did America need to entrap Bill Clinton for? You know what I mean? So that's why I'm curious.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people are very excited about it. I know a lot of people were apprehensive about getting the files that don't seem to have been totally released yet. And I'm not sure.
And I don't think that they even exist.
Right.
Like a lot of what this author is writing about, at least in the case of like the Bushes, and he goes over, basically starting from World War II on. But it was not uncommon if things went awry that you just started destroying and shredding documents. If you didn't want if you wanted to make sure something was kept a secret, you just shredded the documents of anything that was reported or any sort of covert operation. So it wouldn't surprise. And didn't like, I remember when the enhanced interrogation thing got blown up, when Bush 2 was saying that we weren't torturing people, there was like command from, I think it was CIA, where they're just like, start shredding documents so that we never get caught, and people will confirm that. They're like, yeah, my higher up told me to just start shredding documents to show that we weren't torturing these people. So.
That's a pretty common practice. I know that the USAID office just did the same thing. Politico report last week or 2 weeks ago that they just started shredding all their it's just an organization, Anna, that feeds starving children around the world. That's all they do. But they had a lot of documents that needed to be burned, apparently.
Oh, my bad. I thought they were doing like gay plays and stuff.
No, just feeding starving kids. That's all. That's it. That's all they were doing. So kids are starving now because they shut it. So it's unfortunate.
That's unfortunate, yeah.
We want fed kids. I think everybody can agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Gary, thank you. Gary, super chat. Love the show. Intelligent. Wow. Thank you, Gary.
Wow. Thank you.
Appreciate that. We are going to go to our bonus time here in just a second. Real quick, though, since it's a person who represents, our district here and many in the Radio St. Pete district. Did you see this story on Ana Paulina Luna?
I actually, when you put that story in prep, I read it and then accidentally went down a APL rabbit hole.
Tell me about it quickly.
Well, I told you I met her, right? On a plane?
No.
Yeah, dude. I met her on a plane. This is when Kevin Hazlett was running for that Congress seat.
Yeah.
And he ended up losing the primary to Ana Paulina Luna. And she had just beat not Charlie Crist, but I guess it was like, Eric something. She beat out the Democrats. So she got the seat. Uh-huh. And then I'm on my way to San Diego, and this woman in front of me looks exactly like her, but she's got a hat on. She's like kind of incognito a little bit. And I'm looking at her. I'm like, that is definitely her. She gets seated right behind me in a middle seat in coach, in economy seating. A woman of the people, truly. And I did tell her that. It's like, wow, woman of the people, a middle seat in economy. Wow. Yeah. But yeah, I met her and she was like super cool. I turned around and I was just like, hey, congratulations on the win. I have a picture with her. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely send that. We got to put it up on the page here.
Yeah. And it was really funny because, her and there was a lot of trash talking on Bubba's show about her at the time, and I had a Bubba Army shirt on, so I made sure to keep the sweatshirt on. Yeah.
That's funny because I remember Calta talking to her, and I wondered if part of that was that anything
1,000%. Yes,
that's so funny
because Kevin was Bubba's guy. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I'll find the pic. I'll send it.
She is a very attractive woman. I will say.
Oh my God, she's beautiful. And it was so weird because let's save this for the next part because I have it. It's a little bit of a spicy detail. Okay.
All right, good. So anyway, to feed the what's that called? Anyway, to tell you the story, what happened was a Daily Beast reported on March 17th, which I don't trust them. I don't trust many media outlets, but it reveals a 2023 incident when Trump offered the MAGA newcomer his bed when she was experiencing illness from her pregnancy. He said, if you need to lie down there's one here on the plane. If you feel sick and you don't need to lay there, if you feel sick and you need to lay on it, you can lay on it. Just don't tell Melania she doesn't like other women in my bed. Okay, so this isn't even a big deal. I thought he was like, yo, let's get it on, which I think, knowing Trump's past, could plausibly be true. But this sounds like he was just like, if you want to lay down in the bed, if you're not feeling well, you can go. This is a non-story.
Exactly. And she's like 8 months pregnant in the story.
This is very disappointing.
Yeah.
This is the home runs that they're, pitching out there now. And he just said, probably tongue in cheek. Okay, so this probably did happen. She says it's a lie, that it never happened. He was like, he told me to just sit there and take it like a man. He didn't offer his bed on the plane.
I mean, he probably did offer. Wait, what did you say? That he didn't offer it to her?
I guess like she's trying to say, no, this didn't happen, and he just made her tough it out.
Oh no, I think no. She goes on in the story to say that he did offer the back room to her in front of her husband, because she was sick with preeclampsia, because she was very pregnant, and and he let her know that there's a full medical staff on board in the event you go into labor. Which, why are you on like Air Force or Executive Force One or whatever, or the Trump? What is it? What did you call it? Trump Force One. Yeah. Why would you go on that when you're about to pop? But yeah, he did offer the bed, but they made it sound so salacious when it was just him being like, "Dude, you look ill. Go lie down." Like,
so he was being a nice guy.
Yeah. She told the story. Yeah.
Well, that's boring. I was hoping he was trying to bang her.
Yeah, no. And her husband was there, which, unlikely. So that he's trying to pull anything, so.
All right. Well, let's first thanks to Mike
from Mike, thank you.
St. Pete. He says in 2010, super chat here. 2010, the skies were heavily sprayed in the chemtrail squares. I got a high-powered camera. I zoomed in on the plane. It was black, unmarked jet with 2 canisters releasing white smoke and turned to haze. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where I stand on the chemtrail thing now after that story, but
I sent you the picture.
Oh, good. Okay, great. I'm going to make sure I put that on the HMB Radio YouTube and Facebook and all that later. But we're going to say goodbye to podcast listeners. We're going to say goodbye to Radio St. Pete. If you want to get a hold of us, Radio St. Pete, you can do that, 813-693-2124. You can follow me on Instagram at home_made_band. Facebook is HMB Radio, thehomemade_broadcast@gmail.com. And we'll talk to you next week. And we're back. Just like that. All right, so tell me the steamy stuff about APL.
So she had just been voted into Congress. Like, we have a congressperson on our plane. Like, that's kind of cool. I don't know. And she and her husband are right in front of me. She's quite tall. Like, she was probably like 5'8", at least, maybe 5'9". Like, she's not a short person. Phenomenal body. Bang it. Again, this is pre-pregnancy. I don't know what she looks like. I know she's a bit more, covered up now. But anyway, her and her husband are standing right in front of me as we're about to board this plane. And just like a normal couple, he's like touching her ass. And in my mind, I was like, don't touch the congresswoman like that. But, she's got her cap on. She's got like leggings on. She's dressed like a normal, at the time, like 32-year-old. You know what I mean? You got to think she's in her 30s. She's not like 60 something. She's like a hot young congressperson. And he's like grabbing her butt and like, like a boyfriend would do, like, the shoulder and then kind of touch her ass and kind of like push her along or whatever. But I don't know why I was like so stunned. I'm like, this is so salacious the way he's touching her, But also nobody on the plane, I don't think, knew who she was. Because again, she had the cap and it was down low. But I had seen her almost every day for the last few months because Bubba was talking about her incessantly. So when I saw her, I'm like, I think that's her. And I was right in front of her. I could barely tell. But then I was like, dude, that is her. And then when we boarded on the plane and they turned the lights off, she took her cap off. And then I went to the bathroom and I'm like, that's 1,000% her. And then I made my kill. I just went for it. And then I took a picture with her and I sent it to you.
It is weird to see somebody who's a congressperson like in I guess that's not really a bikini. It's a one piece, right? But
it's
tight.
Yeah, it's tight and it's very revealing. And she's also just, her posing is kind of, it's sexual, it's sensual. She got the lipstick and the boobies pushed up, which no one's complaining. She clearly loves America. But yeah, it is interesting to think that woman is representing us and our interests, like.
Yeah, it is kind of unique.
Yeah.
Oh, Garrett, our old buddy Garrett here, sharing
Wow.
a cat refund. All right, with the two best YouTubers in Florida,
Oh,
half
thank
for
you.
Anna's HSA and half for Will's whiskey and bourbon. Excellent. Thank you, Garrett. You rock.
What's HSA?
I thought it was healthcare savings account,
Oh,
but I'm not sure. Actually, maybe it stands for something else in this context.
probably is.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't stop looking at this. Now I'm horny.
Yeah, that's okay.
Great.
Well, yeah, the picture I sent you, it's clearly her.
Oh yeah. Look at
But
that.
I definitely had to like get myself riled up to make the move because I was nervous. I'm like, what if it's not her?
Oh, that's
Like,
definitely her.
Yeah. No. I mean, we talked for like maybe 5-10 minutes, but I was in line to go to the bathroom and I'm staring at her, and it allowed me to stand up and like, because I'm right in front of her, so I can't be looking at her. But when I stood up to go to the bathroom, it put me in perfect view of her face.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I was waiting in line to go to the bathroom, I made my move.
Yeah.
Just said, "Hey, congrats on the win."
And
I'm Anna. What's your name? Oh, it's Anna too. That's super cool.
she's probably like, what a freak.
Yeah.
This is I'm going to be representing. This is my people. Is she your congressman lady?
Yeah. District 13.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah. I think she represents us. But yeah, I said, wow, I wasn't as flirtatious as I am portraying this to be, but it's like, wow, middle seat in coach. I'm like, you are a woman of the people.
Mm-hmm. That's
But
right.
I did say something like that. But we talked a bit. She was on her way to Phoenix. And I knew it was her because the plane stopped in Phoenix. And there was like I don't know if it was what is Charlie Kirk there was a turning point thing in Phoenix. So I'm like, that's like, I was just like, it's her. It's 100% her. And it was, yeah. And her husband was really cool too. I felt bad because he's like, I'm like, whatever, dude, don't care. Anyways, what up, congressperson? So
yeah, that's cool. She's right.
Yeah. She was nice.
Let me tell you about this now. Did you see this? This is one where I wanted to jump out of a window. I saw it. Because I don't know, I've been doing this podcast a long time. I did a lot of solo episodes. So it started with me and my buddy, Adam, who started this podcast. It was mostly me, and he would just kind of be there, right? And then for a long time, it was just me. And I remember coming in and recording at the radio station. And especially during COVID, because nobody was there, I would come in and use the equipment. And I remember talking about during that time, I remember we were doing radio on the weekends, pretty much just being live all the time because we were in a major catastrophe, but then nobody really knew what was going on or how serious this was going to get. And I remember you had a doctor on. And I remember the doctor, I don't want to get him in too much trouble, but I remember him saying at that point, let's keep this between us. But I have a colleague who says that this looks like it's been tinkered with, I believe is the word that he used. And he said that it had some sort of HIV DNA strand on it to make it more infectious. Right? That's just what I heard or what you heard.
And this is when the mics were off, right?
This was when the mics were off, right?
I think I vaguely remember that. We're like getting ready to go, and he's in an afterthought just says like, by the way.
Yeah. And I was like, what does that mean? So that kind of sent me into this, like looking into, I remember, what was it, 201, Operation 201?
Event 201.
Event 201, right.
The simulation.
A simulation.
What if we had a big pandemic?
Yes.
And it looked like this. What would we do? Yeah.
Yeah. So then I started going, and I remember saying like, okay, this clearly came from the lab that does this work. I mean, obviously. And I remember Jon Stewart said it a few years ago, and everybody was kind of really taken aback by that. We were just talking about if a chocolate outbreak happened in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I remember seeing that on Colbert, right?
Yeah,
or not Colbert.
It was Colbert.
Oh, Colbert. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. He was kind of taken aback by that. And it was, so the New York Times actually had a real writer, Donald McNeil was his name. And he was like a real science person, which he just came out with a book talking about how he wanted to talk about the potential, at least, for a lab leak event, but was kind of stifled with that. He ended up getting fired because somebody came forward and said that during he was taking a class out of college students, and somehow the N-word came up. I don't know how, but he was talking about how it was like something about,
as
like,
it does.
yes, as it does in college, yes. But he said something like, well, if you're quoting it, like if it's in a song or something, I don't think it's, racist. I don't know exactly what the content, but it was something very similar to that. Okay. They took that as an opportunity to just fire him. They hired some lady to be the science writer, and she famously now, years ago, tweeted out that, paraphrasing here, but the lab leak one day we're going to talk about how racist the lab leak theory is, but today is not that day. First of all, I don't understand how that's racist. I don't understand any of that stuff. Most of the things that are called racist are racist, but it was called racist by them. So now the New York Times, and now it can all be said, I guess, published March 17, 2025, a whopping 5 years after the COVID outbreak, went, yeah, the public was misled by scientific community about COVID origins. That's one that just made me want to jump out the window. The New York Times published an opinion column claiming that the scientific community badly misled the public in an effort to suppress the theory that COVID-19 originated in a lab in Wuhan. And even the own science writer called the theory racist. The March 16th piece, we were badly misled about the event that changed our lives. So who is we? The piece was called "We Were Badly Misled About the Event That Changed Our Lives." Who is we in that sentence?
The public?
I kind of got like, is it the New York Times was misled? Because I don't think that's fair, because they talk about in the piece, they were saying that, and it was this professor, Zeynep Tufekci.
What did you call me?
That's a person's name. A Princeton sociology professor argued that the scientific community long suspected that the virus originated in a Wuhan lab, but purportedly hid or understated the crucial facts to mislead the public about the lab's lax safety precautions. They also talked about, well, it wasn't really our fault because there was a lot of people with bad actors who are trying to discredit, government as a whole, bad faith arguments, or people who have dabbled in conspiracy theories in the past. But what does a bad faith argument mean if they're right? I don't understand. I don't accept that. And there frankly was no apology with this. Like, I don't understand how anybody can listen to these people anymore when they make these, monumental, they're wrong about everything major over the past, 7 or 8 years, and probably much more even before that. But since it's been on my radar, they're wrong about the really big things. Always, it seems like.
You know what? I'm actually really shocked. Like, why would you even write this piece? If I'm New York Times, I'm going to pretend like COVID never fucking happened.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I go and say, yeah, public was lied to? The New York Times, which I'm sure posted tons about COVID and how the lab leak theory was racist or whatever. Why would I then 5 years later go, yeah, that was a lie. We knew it. The scientific community knew it, but everyone was scared to say something. This is more like a Fox News piece or something like that, but it seems kind of crazy that even the New York Times, maybe this is the shift that they're talking about, because what they're doing isn't working. So they're like, all right, CNN is like, we got to start talking about stuff that the Republicans want to hear, I guess. I don't know. It's just kind of crazy to me that they're even writing this stuff.
You know what it is? It's so they could say like, well, we corrected the record.
Yeah.
So you can trust us. Yes, we made a mistake. Now it's way beyond past the times where it'd make any difference now. And first of all, they don't go, hey, sorry. Like even
Yeah.
like little like our bad or something. It was just like, well, we didn't really think it was this because I don't like the people who were saying it. So they weren't on our team because they were weirdos and conspiracy theorists. But these conspiracy theorists and weirdos end up being right.
Well, I mean, New York Times can just say, like, hey, we're just a bunch of journalists, and the scientists were saying this. And now the scientists are coming out and saying that they had to keep things under wraps. So we're just reporting the news.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of the stuff that came out with those Twitter files, too. It was that Francis Collins from the Eco Health Alliance, which was taking taxpayer money and was working on this
gain of function research.
Yeah. There was an email of some other guy who said basically what our doctor said that came in and said, hey, this looks like it was messed with, gain of function. And they went, can you join us for a conference call at 9 a.m. tomorrow? And they called and then he totally rejected that. Said, oh, no, it's from the zoo. It's from the zoo.
Which, by the way, and this is not an original thought, so I don't want to take credit for it, but someone brought up, they're like, you think that the lab leak theory is racist? Not the theory that these dirty Chinese people eat out of wet markets. They eat pangolins, which shit on chickens, with shit on bats, and then these filthy Chinese people eat this bat soup. I remember seeing like videos of like, it's like a full bat with fur, not even like chopped up, just like dead in a bowl of soup. And they're just like using chopsticks and like eating it. And I'm like, oh God, they got the whole world sick.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
that's not totally racist. Like,
I know. But it's because it's a good way to discredit opposition, findings or whatever you want to call it now. Because Francis Collins got exposed that he was going to writing journalists and writing even Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook saying you have to ban people who are saying this. It's it's bad for science or whatever, and this is a lie, and like advocated and lobbied these people. Probably lobbied that New York Times writer who said that it is, because it's just a lazy, easy way to, when you hear that theory's racist, you go, oh, well, I guess I don't want to believe
I'm
that.
not a racist. Yeah, I don't want to.
I guess I better get on board here. I don't accept their apology.
Well, they didn't give you one, so.
But it's even like, and then the other one that made me crazy a few weeks ago was Jake Tapper. He wrote a book with somebody else, some other journalist, about Joe Biden's mental decline. What?
How it was there, or how it wasn't there?
And how messed up Joe Biden was during his time as president mentally. And they did all these interviews with people. But I saw, you see Twitter and, social media, they have compilations of him shutting people down if they were to bring up Joe Biden's mental capacity at his age as president. He would, okay, all right, we're not going to do this as a conspiracy theory. And then he writes a freaking book.
Well, let me ask you this. Who is he blaming? Because obviously he's going to be like, I was pressured by, is it just the Biden administration? Like, who is he blaming? He's not going to take fault for it, obviously.
No. And it's a way to, the job's done. Like, it didn't work and so, I mean, they're just trying to be like, no, we're not. We just found out new information and now we're reporting it. We were lied to. It's actually, we're the victims here in this circumstance, much like this story is with the COVID stuff. But you just go, if you're a normal human being, like, why are you listening? They're wrong too often about really big things. They just can't be trusted. And, I know that the, trust in media is at an all-time low. It's sitting really low, but they still hold a lot of power. The New York Times is still tremendously powerful. Probably the most powerful arm of, I don't know, any sort of public opinion shaping tool that there is. It's still really highly touted as like a
it's highly
news.
regarded.
Yeah.
Like, it's a legacy media source. It's been around for a long time. Wait, who did you say Jake Tapper blamed, or you didn't read it, or you?
I didn't read the book, but he just put out a book that was just like, yeah, we covered Joe Biden's mental decline. And this was like a month. Like this is a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember seeing like an article about it, but who did you think that he blames? Other, like, the administration? Like, I wonder if he's trying to say, like, listen, I was like threatened by the Biden administration that if I didn't follow suit, or is he going to say, like, I didn't know?
He was
what?
Misled by the administration and by, and it was quite like, oh yeah, of course they're lying to you. Look at him. He doesn't know where he is. I mean, it was so obvious that these things. Now there's the auto pen dispute.
Yeah, I did read
that. Heritage came out with and they are a biased publication to the right, but they came out with a report that he's always using auto pen. Everything that he signed that wasn't in public was auto pen. Already, I think it was a New York Times journalist saying, no, that's common practice. For everyone? I don't think so. Not for every single bill. That's normal. So they're just doing it again, and then you're gonna find out maybe.
Well, what is auto pen? I thought is like an electronic signature.
It is, yeah.
Okay, but and again, Trump could just be talking trash, but he was like, Joe Biden didn't even know he signed it. Like he wasn't even in control. People were auto penning on his behalf.
Yeah, and you're talking about the pardons, right?
The pardons, like, that happened hours before he left office. Yeah. So
it's I guess the auto pen has been used. There's obviously a lot of things that require the president's signature, and I guess they have been used in the past, but every single one supposedly is the claim that wasn't in public. No, that's not normal. That's not a normal thing. So who was running the country during the past 4 years? That's what I'd be very
curious. Part of his cabinet. Tony Obama's Barack, his third term.
That's a conspiracy, right? Is that
it was Barack's third term.
Yeah.
And
he had a house down like a few blocks away from the White House, supposedly. I don't know. But I can't believe after all of the just conniptions that they had when somebody would bring up Joe Biden's mental capacity, and they would, like I said, there's compilations out there of Jake Tapper going, oh no, we're not doing, no, this is a lie, debunked, conspiracy, whatever. And then a freaking book about Joe Biden's mental decline. I mean, this isn't like 2 years from now. This is like 40 days after Joe Biden left office. How do you write a book that fast? Number one. It's just like, I don't understand how anybody, like, I'm sorry, like, even if you are a Democrat or whatever, like, you go, yeah, you could still be a Democrat, but certainly don't trust anything that these people are saying. They're just, but I get it. It's just a tribal thing. They agree with me, and they're doing what I want them to do. Lie on behalf, because the other guy's a lot worse. Yeah, my guy might not be perfect, but this other, look at what they're starving kids, for God's sakes. So I get it, I guess, to a certain degree. It's just so, those two things, the COVID thing and the Joe Biden, Jake Tapper thing, drove me absolutely bonkers over the past weeks. Shout out to, I don't know if it's Andrea. She said Andrea or Andrea. What do you think?
Andrea.
Okay. I'm going to go with Andrea. She said, I wish I could call with this question, but I'll be living in Japan for the next few years. Oh my gosh. Thoughts on keeping vegetarian after 11 years? Learned dietary restrictions can be tough. Food might be worth it. I'd love both of your insights. Thanks. I gotta see this to Anna because
a registered dietitian. So why don't you go first, Will?
Yes. Well, I vote eat it up. Wagyu, sushi. I think it's time to change your diet and come over to the dark side. I believe personally, now you're talking to a I've got a few pounds I could lose. I think that's fair to say. Maybe 2 or 3 pounds that I could lose until I'm at my. But I think that a healthier lifestyle is to eat meat and eat locally. So I would say change up your diet. But anyway, I think Anna, this is more your territory.
Well, I would ask Andrea. I think that's what it is. Maybe it's Andrea. What do you want to do? If you feel like being a vegetarian might hinder your experience in Japan, which, by the way, it will. If you want to try sushi, well, I'm assuming vegetarian, you mean like no fish either. It will hinder your experience. You will probably want to try the best sushi in the world, the ramen, the pork belly. I don't know what other the hibachi, Johnny Hibachi, whatever they got going on over there. Being a vegetarian will put a damper on things.
Yeah.
I do not. This is what I think about of these like dietary tribal wars is different strokes for different folks. I know that's not what people want to hear because they want to go, no, my team's the best team. You got to be a carnivore. You got to be a vegan. You got to be keto. Here's the thing. If you have an adequate amount of protein in your diet, okay, and you don't go crazy in either direction with the fats or the carbs, and you just have like a nice energy balance where you're maintaining your weight and you're not letting it get out of control, then eat whatever. You know, I mean, I could tell you, oh, being a vegetarian is like so healthy. Well, guess what I did last week that I'm not proud of? I had donuts for dinner. I went to Walmart at 9 p.m. and ate sour cream glazed cake donuts for dinner. And I went home feeling like a fraud.
They weren't even good ones.
Just talking about. Wait, what?
They weren't even good ones. They weren't. Like, come on.
They're good.
I mean, they're good. I got to chastise you here as a chubby man. If you're going to eat donuts, eat good donuts. Go to a bakery that will make them fresh.
I don't know if the bakery is going to be open at 9 p.m. when I'm having a craving, Will.
Well, that's true.
But Walmart's bakery slaps, by the way. They have a lot of good bakery items. They do. I know you don't think that. You're like, ew, Walmart. No, Walmart's great. Okay? I love Walmart. I love it. Anyways, I say now I'm it's like an Anna thing. Andrea, I think that you should indulge in the Japanese experience. You're asking the question because you don't want to do it. You wouldn't ask me, like, I wouldn't ask someone like, should I not be a vegetarian? Because I would just be a vegetarian. But you clearly feel the desire that you want to try some of this Japanese food. Is that bat soup?
Yeah, it's not a great picture. This came from the Walmart bakery.
Shut up. Andrea, eat the meat, eat the fish, enjoy. You can always return to being a vegetarian later. I am not an ethical vegetarian because if I was an ethical vegetarian, I would be a vegan. And vegans aren't even ethical because they don't understand that in order to clear all the land for their avocado trees, they have to kill thousands of squirrels and moles and gophers and bugs. All those things have to die so that they can grow those crops that are vegan. So at the end of the day, everyone is a demon from hell. Do what you want to do. That's probably not the answer you expected, but I would say it sounds like you want to try the Japanese food. Try the effing Japanese food. Eat the fish. Eat the Wagyu. Do the things and get the full experience.
I hope that helped. I do hope it helped. I'd like to know what's bringing you to Japan. If I see your comment, I'll put it back up. Why are you living in Japan? One thing I did see from Mike here too. He said it's not so much going back to the, media stuff. It's not so much that they admit they are wrong. It's more that big tech censored dissenting opinions and shadow ban channels who dared to challenge the establishment. Yeah, no, I agree. I got it. The only, I don't think it was actually, no, it wasn't COVID. I got one YouTube warning, and it was after the election, the last one. I did a story that was in a New York Post that was talking to some sort of AI chatbot, and it asked the chatbot what he thought about some of the claims that were being made about the last election in 2020, that there may have been something funky that happened during that time. And the chatbot said, yeah, I think there might have been. And I reported on that story, and I got a strike on my YouTube channel for that one. So that was what, 4 years ago. So
Didn't
we'll see.
you get banned from Instagram and you had to do that
Yeah.
It almost looked like you were broadcasting from jail. I had to take that picture of you that says my name is Will Kuncz.
Yeah.
My date of birth is this.
Yeah. Something happened with the Instagram. Yeah, I got booted from Instagram. I can't remember exactly what that was, but yeah, so who knows what we're going to learn about in the next few years about that election.
Mm-hmm.
What comes out about that. It's just, I don't know. And I know it's not they're not wrong about every big thing, but it's a lot of big things that media tends to be wrong. Garrett says you should check out Publix brioche donuts.
You know what? Publix has not been really impressing me with the donut game lately. So I've resorted to Walmart, and I'm telling you, when they're just original glazed donuts are fresh, they are the best donuts on the market. Not like, your local bakery type of stuff, but as far as big chains go, Walmart is probably the best when it's fresh. I'm not kidding. Will, we're going to Walmart.
So they actually have a bakery. Let's see. It says Walmart bakery items, including breads, cakes, and other baked goods, are made both in store by bakery associates and by external vendors like Sara Lee, Franz, and Missions, with some arriving frozen. Okay. And I think Publix is Alessia, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know.
Alessia Bakery. Let's see. She said, thank you. Totally helped. Stationed in Japan with the Air Force. Okay, great. Well, thank you for your service. Much appreciated. And it's Andrea.
I like the long vowel. It's nice.
Well, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Thank you for your service, Andrea.
Yeah, that's a good
Enjoy the sushi.
Yeah. Have some Wagyu, some fresh. Oh, man. That's so
Is that a breed of cow?
No, it's just, well, maybe. Now I'm not sure. I think it's just how the cow is treated.
Oh, it's massaged and they give it manicures and stuff.
Yeah, it's high fat diet. It lives like a king while it's alive. Then they cut its head off, but prematurely. But while it's alive, it lives.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. Garrett says Publix Gordon Foods from Rochester, New York. What does that mean?
You said it was Alessi, and he's saying it's not.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's why, because I swore I heard it was Alessia Bakery, because the one in Tampa is huge. Maybe that's why it's not as good. I don't know. Thank you so much, everybody, for the super chats.
Yeah, it was a lot today. Appreciate the interaction.
Very cool.
And the donations.
Yeah, much appreciated, y'all. So we are going to have the pre-recorded show. Please tune in. Anyway, I don't think it's going to be live on Wednesday. I think I might actually just release it at Sunday. But if you sign up for the Substack, Anna, you'll get it that day on Wednesday.
Ooh, okay.
Rebroadcast. So hmbradio.substack.com. You can subscribe for free. If you want to, you can do the subscriptions. It's up to you. It's more just a way to support the show right now. I plan on doing stuff with it down the line, but we got to get subscribers there first, and here too. It's going up slowly but surely.
Good.
Tell your friend about it and have them tune in. And word of mouth is your best form of advertising. So it's always good to hang out with all of you. Thank you, Garrett and Andrea and Mike and was it Mark in Sarasota? I think that was the other one.
Yeah, SRQ. Yep.
Yeah. And there were some other ones too. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting, but great to talk to you. We'll see you back live on the 2nd. Yeah, but there will be a show. It just won't be live next week. And good luck on your trip, Anna.
Thank you. Good luck on your cruise.
Yes, I'm going to be going.
Lots of tales, I'm sure.
Bachelor party cruise. That should be a hoot. Look forward to it. And all right. Well, I just don't want to say goodbye. I don't know. But bye.
Bye, guys.